for joining us on Weather Out West. I'm meteorologist Leah Pizzetti. It is Monday, December 29th. Welcome to Weather Out West, the hour-long show where we showcase what's happening weather-wise across the western United States. We're hoping everyone has had a safe and happy holiday season so far. It's been a wild December for everybody across the West Coast, with multiple atmospheric rivers bringing heavy rain from the northwest all the way down to Southern California. Everyone has tapped into the excitement, causing flooding and debris flows in many regions. Now, though, it's a different story. We are seeing calm weather for a change for most of our Weather Out West communities. Soak it up while you can, though. Changes are on the way. We'll unpack it all. But today, the active weather is in the Midwest and Northeast, where winter weather is creating havoc there. A powerful winter storm with blizzard conditions and damaging winds is sweeping across the central and eastern United States. More than 30 million people are now under winter weather alerts. This is the scene in Michigan, where parts of the state have already seen close to 2 feet of snow. Strong wind and snow are expected to cause dangerous travel conditions from lower Michigan to western New York and northwest Pennsylvania. And as the system pushes east into Tuesday, its wintry and windy side will shift toward the eastern Great Lakes and northern New England. One driver shares what it looked like in Lake Superior Sunday night.
I mean, road's up here somewhere. I'm just gonna kind of winging it. There it is. Oh yeah, crystal clear all day. Oh my God, you guys.
The winter storm is already causing travel trouble. Flight delays and cancellations impacted New York City airports as snow moved through the region. Naveen DeLewall reports.
At the Vince Lombardi service area along the New Jersey Turnpike, cars packed the lot as holiday travelers were trying to make their way home.
We hit traffic for no reason, just traffic, no accidents, just all of a sudden stop and go.
The push to get home even more urgent for Linda Kern as freezing rain moved in Sunday night, turning roads slick.
We're trying to beat it.
I don't want to be driving through that.
Billy and Cassie Polish are concerned as they head home to Philly from Massachusetts with their dog Ralphie.
I'm a little concerned for Ralphie's paws with all the salt. I hope people drive slow. People are crazy out here.
Sunday is one of the busiest travel days for the holidays, and this comes on the heels of a powerful snowstorm just 2 days ago that caused widespread delays and cancellations at all 3 major New York City airports. Even on Sunday, the flight board lit up with delays at Newark's Terminal A. But weather wasn't to blame for Luke Argisco's flight delay from West Palm Beach.
Something mechanical, and then they switched the plane, and then they couldn't find the pilot. It was weird.
Back on the roads, drivers aren't taking any chances.
Drive slower, pay attention when there's a bridge coming, so slow down because those may get icy.
Trust it's all going to be good, and if it's not, you pull over.
Of course, though, that impact on the East Coast can, of course, impact our flights on the West Coast as well. So we may be feeling those impacts here. I do want to show you what we're looking at big picture as far as West Coast weather is concerned. You can see that over in the Midwest, that is where we have the snow right now. But my goodness, everybody along the West Coast is feeling quiet weather. We have a ridge of high pressure that's set up that's keeping us quiet. We're keeping the precipitation up in Canada and British Columbia, where they are seeing some heavy rain. But today, nothing to report. And that's going to remain the case for the final couple days of 2025. But I want to show you the big picture here. This is Wednesday, New Year's Eve. You see that rain starting to move into the Golden State. So it's going to start in the south, and then by Thursday, it is going to become a widespread West Coast rain event. Everybody will be tapping in to moisture to some degree, and that sticks around into Friday. This is Friday evening. And yes, everybody is going to feel that rain, and we'll see some mountain snow as well. So this is a quiet period right now, but that is going to change as we head into later on this week. The first area to tap into that rain is Southern California. So let's begin with meteorologist Evan Narani in San Diego with how it will impact New Year's Eve plans farthest south.
Hi everyone, I'm meteorologist Evan Narani in San Diego. A dry start to our work week, but rain on the way as we get to New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. We started off the day with some high cirrus clouds and some wind. Santa Ana's are breezy yet again today as that ridge of high pressure sits to the east of us and a trough of low pressure to the west of us, setting us up perfectly for that offshore pressure gradient. Live look, or at least look from earlier this morning, showed that just some cirrus clouds were on hand, maybe some filtered sunlight through the next 24 and 48 hours. A wind advisory stays in effect through 1 p.m. on Tuesday. This is for our inland valleys and the western slopes of the mountains. As that wind comes out from the deserts, it warms up as it compresses over the western slopes of the mountains and then just sits across the valley floors. Rainfall forecast shows that changes are going to be on the way very quickly as we get into Wednesday. But for Monday and Tuesday, hey, we just have those passing clouds for the most part. That rain begins as we jump into Wednesday morning. Take a look at all that green popping up primarily over the mountains at first. It looks like what we see on Wednesday, New Year's Eve, is much less intense than what we have on Thursday, New Year's Day, because as we run through that countdown time frame, so parties and festivities all kind of getting underway by the 7 o'clock hour on Wednesday. You can see some very light dabbles of green on there, meaning that we'll have overcast skies, we'll have cooler than normal temperatures, and we will likely at that point start to see just some mist and drizzle. But take a look at how things intensify just past midnight. That's where the more moderate bands start to come on shore, mainly hitting North County at first. 1:45 a.m. looks like this, and it seems like beyond that we'll start to pick up on the more moderate showers. So if you have plans past midnight to stay out and about through 2 a.m., that's when you might start to encounter some more moderate to heavy downpours of rain. Should look pretty similar to what we saw last week, just in time for New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Rainfall estimates are projected to be about 1 inch in Fallbrook, same with Oceanside and Carlsbad. As you start to make your way south, that's where we start to see those lighter accumulations. So closer to about just 0.4 of an inch, 0.3 in Alpine, and the mountains staying really mild overall. This looks to be mainly a coastal event hitting North County disproportionately than what we see out toward the South Bay. 7-day forecast just shows that with that wind in play, those Santa Anas were staying breezy, and we're seeing those temperatures stay in the warmer than normal range for today and tomorrow. We warm up even more for tomorrow afternoon, all the way up to 79 degrees, and then about a 10 to maybe almost 15 degree temperature cool down as we get to the end of the week. Temperatures stay in the mid 60s starting on Wednesday. It'll last all the way through at least Sunday. Daily chance for rain from Wednesday through Sunday as well. What I want to hone in here to is that while we see that wet weather begin and really peak on Thursday, that doesn't necessarily mean that we get to dry skies on Friday through the weekend. Instead, that rain lingers for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. In fact, some models show as we go into the beginning of next week, we'll still be holding on to those bouts of precipitation. Because this is a warmer storm coming from the subtropics, we are going to be seeing those temperatures above freezing for our local mountains. So despite the fact that those temperatures slide down to the 40s, maybe even the 30s from Friday into Saturday, we don't really get to sub-freezing until things have dried out into the beginning of next week. The deserts are going to stay in the 70s for today and tomorrow and sliding down to the 60s as this storm starts to come about. Rain starting to pick up as we get into Wednesday and peaking on Thursday. I'll send things back to you.
Thank you, Evan. Now let's head up I-5 to Northern California. Frosty and foggy are the two words to start the week while we maintain this quiet weather pattern. As Rob Carlmark shows us, that Pacific storm I mentioned will shake things up later this week. Here's a look at the timing of rain in Northern California, the final few days of 2025.
Hello, I'm meteorologist Rob Carlmark with your forecast for Northern California and the West Coast. And let me tell you something, it has been very busy going through the holidays. Things have backed off a little bit. And then now we're going to ease into a new stormy pattern. But in between, we've got a lot of cold weather to contend with. And that's really the story for this Monday. We've got some early morning fog for the valley and for the coastal locations. And I'm talking thick stuff, really thick stuff, hard to see and it's really cold and frosty in many locations. And then for the foothills, we're just looking at a cold forecast, but overall sunny above that layer of clouds. It's going to be a nice one. It's been busy lately, but things are going to certainly back off for the next couple of days at least. And then for the Sierra, you probably have heard about all the snow, more than 5 feet of snow for the resorts and the surrounding areas. Very busy holiday traffic, people stuck in snow on the road for 5, 6, 7 hours in some cases trying to get to Tahoe. But now you see the result of that, the benefit. As far as rain in the bucket or melted snow and the rain equivalent, you could see all across Northern California, Central and Southern California. Wow, it's been a pretty good 2025 so far. Now, our rainy season is a little bit different around here. It begins October 1st instead of January 1st like it is for most locations. And so just going by those numbers, just since October, so essentially 2 months and a little bit in, you could see how far above average we are. So we're in pretty good shape. We had a lull for about 3 weeks where nothing happened. It was in the 40s with clouds all day long. I was here, trust me, it was kind of grim and gloomy, but that broke up with that huge wet pattern. Now we're just taking a couple days off. You could see from this vantage point, it's clear skies, but at the ground level, there's two things, and they're layered one on top of the other. Number one is going to be the first frost advisory that we've seen so far this season. So that's that purple color. And then underneath that, a dense fog advisory where you have visibility a quarter mile or less. So it's cold, it's hard to see, tough to get out of bed, especially on a Monday. Now, that will eventually clear off as we get some warming, some wind, and some mixing. And then you're looking at temperatures that will be roughly within this zone. For the foothills, some sunshine, highs in the 50s, 54 for Jackson, 59 Nevada City. We've got 42 for Truckee, 42 South Lake Tahoe. A lot of folks have the week off and they're rewarded with sunny skies and lots of great skiing. Early season, grim. Since that snow, a lot of places are opening up, more lifts, more terrain. It's all looking pretty good and much more favorable after Christmas forecast going into the end of the year, especially with more snow on the way. Although there is a little wrinkle, which I'll show you in a second. Temperatures along the coast in the 60s. We've got mostly 50s inland. Again, that fog is going to burn off, and then we're looking pretty good for areas in and around Sacramento because it's so cold in the morning, number one, and then also the fog is not really breaking up until right around 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. That only gives you several hours of sunshine from about noon till 3, 4, and then we're going to start to see the sun go down and everybody cool off. So here's our wrinkle in the forecast. Between Wednesday and very early Thursday, notice that it's all green. You really only see the snow for the highest peaks. So we've got a lot of warm air getting drawn in for just a couple days. So it's mostly rain for all elevations, and then it will switch over to snow going into the weekend and beyond. So it's going to take a little while, but we're eventually going to get there. As you can see, that mountain forecast hovering in the 40s with some rain. Not ideal, but at least early week skiing is going to be great. Later in the week, a little bit of rain mixed in, and that's going to be warmer temperatures for our Friday. 60 degrees for the high, but look what goes on into the weekend. We've got cooling conditions and then more rain/snow going into next week.
As a winter storm moved on and the sun came out, many people in California headed up to the Sierra to play in some fresh winter snow. Connor McGill reports.
After several feet of snow blanketed the Sierra this week, families are wasting no time getting outside to enjoy it. Kids were seen throwing snowballs, building snowmen, and racing down hills on sleds in Nyack as visitors filled the popular snow play area just off the I-80.
It's really fun. It's also really cold.
For Santiago and his family, the goal was simple: find a good spot and have some fun in the snow.
We're trying to find a good area to do a snowball fight.
Other families say the trip brought back good memories, making this weekend even more special.
We came when I was a little girl. I remember that.
And while the snow created plenty of fun, it also came with a few slips and falls along the way.
We slipped, and we hit ourselves kind of hard, but it was really fun.
Getting here, however, took some patience. Caltrans lifted chain restrictions around 12:15 this afternoon after working around the clock to clear the roads. Even with clear highways, traffic remained slow along the I-80 for most of the day.
It was like 2 hours in just a little piece with all the traffic and the stopping.
Drone 13 captured long backups in Blue Canyon. Traffic stretching from Baxter to Cisco Grove as drivers made their way up the mountain, all hoping the snow was worth the wait.
Looks fun for those kiddos. Well, up next after the break, we are going to head inland to Arizona and Denver with a check on if they will ring in the new year with any rain chances. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Weather Out West. The desert might not stay dry this week. Let's send things over to Crystal Long in Phoenix with rain chances in Arizona this week.
Hey there, I'm meteorologist Crystal Long in Phoenix, Arizona, and the next big thing for us is rain to ring in the new year. That's right, we're going to see those raindrops flying with the fireworks. Probably not any snowflakes mixed with the confetti in our mountain regions because the system's going to really come in on the mild side. And what else is new? Mild is our MO this season. Could we be setting another record warm December? So last year we pulled that off. It was the record driest and warmest December with an average temperature of 62.8 degrees. That's when you factor in the morning low and the afternoon highs. So far this year, which we only have a few more days left to go before we close the books on 2025, look at us. We're above that, 63.1. And I'll tell you what, 2025 is going to go out with a balmy bang. You could see today, we're tacking on an extra 9 degrees above average. So yeah, I definitely think this is doable to already reset the record books for December again after just doing it last year. Flagstaff gets an extra 1 today. Payson 7 for you, 3 for Havasu. You get the idea here. Most of Arizona is really dialing up the degrees above those seasonal standards. So it's going to take us 74 in Phoenix, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, not complaining about that, right? We're all enjoying this warmth. This is why we live here. We're on the cusp of 70 in Parker, a pair of Nichols in Sedona and Payson, Flagstaff 42. We've got some winds that will be banging into Bullhead City as well as Sedona. So expect those winds to get stirred up at times. Now looking ahead to when the clock strikes midnight on your New Year's Eve, and then looking ahead to the very first day of 2026, ooh, we've got some rain chances that will begin in those overnight hours. So you could be dealing with the rain messing with some of your festivities if they're outside. Unfortunately, we've got a lot going on. We've got the pine cone drop in northern Arizona. We've got the boot drop in Prescott. So many fun festivities. But yes, you may need to put the umbrella up. Temperatures will be mild though, so it's not like you have to put many loops in your scarf. If anything, you might be unzipping them. And then on actual New Year's Day, that's when we're going to feel cooler than we are now in the valley with a high that doesn't even touch 70 degrees. We've got 50s there in Rim Country in the White Mountains and in northern Arizona. It will be cool, but not cold enough for snow. This is what the rain and snow stamp could look like. You could see not much here for northern Arizona other than a few dabs. And as far as rain goes, perhaps around 1/4 of an inch here in the valley with a bigger splash there for the higher terrain to the north and east. So your 7-day forecast for Flagstaff, you could see that jump up in shower chances on your New Year's Day. It also tweaks those temperatures, so we'll kind of be wonky there. Maybe reaching for that extra layer even here in the valley on your New Year's Day. That's still technically above average, but it's different than we're used to. So get ready with those umbrellas.
We will be ready. After a warm Christmas in Colorado, temperatures are now cooling down. Jaden Knowles and Katie LaSalle are in Denver with a look at the temperature swing in Colorado.
I'm Weather Impact Team meteorologist Jaden Knowles here in Denver, Colorado. And yesterday we finally saw some snow. Not really beneficial. We didn't see a whole lot, but at least we saw something. I wish it would have came back on Christmas Day. But as far as your highs for this afternoon, back to normal temperatures. We'll see 45 degrees. Yesterday was a very chilly day, only getting up to the low to mid 30s. Above freezing, though. 51 as we head into tomorrow. And then the upper 50s as we head into Wednesday. Notice a trend there. Lots of sunshine and, of course, gradually warming up each and every day. Some of the snow totals that we did see yesterday, Boulder got up to 3 inches. Westminster about 2.5. Officially at the airport, you saw 2.2 inches, and then down towards Broomfield, just over 1.5 inches, 1.8 officially in Broomfield. As far as our futurecast today, really no more snow. I know a lot of people wish that we saw some more snow, at least today as well, but you can see staying nice and dry, not a cloud in the sky, lots of sunshine. Once again, this is what it will look like this afternoon, especially as we head into the evening hours. So enjoy yourself, wear the sunglasses. Don't forget the sunscreen. Even with these cooler temperatures, we're seeing lots of sunshine, no cloud coverage. You could see maybe that sunburns, the high risk for sunburns, I should say. Here's the rest of your weather pattern. High pressure system continuing to build in. This is one of the main reasons why we'll see those warmer temperatures. That's going to continue for the next couple of days, especially as we head into the weekend. Notice where all that Arctic area is over towards the East Coast, parts of Boston, as well as Chicago. But hour by hour this afternoon, we are going to warm up to the mid 40s, as I mentioned, 44 degrees by 2 p.m. This evening, a little bit chilly, not as cool as what we saw overnight into early parts of this morning, 37 degrees. By this evening. Overall, the rest of your 7-day forecast, very warm, very unusual. 59 degrees on New Year's Eve. Overnight lows will drop down to the low 40s. For New Year's Day, 62 degrees. And guess what? That trend will continue as we head into next week.
Happy Monday. I'm 9 News Weather Impact Team's Katie LaSalle. A big talker here across the state. Where is the snow? Skiers, boarders heading out over the Christmas holiday. We actually saw rain in Aspen on December 25th. Fortunately, over the weekend, spots like Winter Park, where a lot of skiers and boarders are heading up the gondola on this Monday morning, saw 12 inches of fresh snow. So that was great. A little helpful for our Colorado snowpack, but still, it is pretty abysmal. 57% of median right now. It was the slowest and worst start to the winter season that we have on record. And you can see not a lot of open terrain for many of our ski resorts here across the state. Breckenridge only at 16% of open trails, 17% in Vail. We really need some help from Mother Nature to produce more natural snow here in the mountains, and that will be helpful for our ski resorts. Our next best chance for picking up some much needed precipitation for Colorado's high country is set to arrive on New Year's Day. A ridge of high pressure building in over the west coast. Colorado, unseasonably warm and dry conditions as we head into the next couple of days. So we saw snow over the weekend, starting off this Monday, clear and cold, but that cold air moving over the northeast into the Great Lakes region. We will be left with some warmer air across the state, and what that will do is bring us, yes, we have the chance for some precipitation on Thursday, but a rain-snow mix at lower terrain. Fortunately, Thursday into Friday is where we're expecting to see more of that moisture roll in, so we will be talking about some accumulating snowfall for our northern, central, and eventually southern mountains through early Friday before we clear out for the weekend. We could really use some help, but our 8 to 14 day precipitation outlook, we're keeping our fingers crossed that it is trending more active, a cooler and wetter weather pattern. But across the Denver metro area, it is just going to be warm for this time of the year. As we round out tonight into tomorrow, it's going to be seasonal for Monday, so pretty chilly. But by Tuesday, 10 degrees warmer. Typically, highs start off January 1st at 44 degrees on average. We are expecting low 60s for New Year's Day, and then for the weekend as well, dry and mild. As mentioned, we do have the chance for a little bit more precipitation, some more winter weather we're hoping for here. Be helpful for drought conditions and Colorado's snowpack into next week.
My goodness, Colorado, you need that snow. Well, after a delayed ski season in Washington as well, there's finally some snow in Washington's mountains. That's good news for skiers and snowboarders, but it does, of course, come at a cost. When we come back, we are taking a look at the price to hit the slopes. Welcome back. This is a view of Snoqualmie Pass as of Monday morning. You can see that cars are moving nicely on the roadways. No fresh snow in the last day or two, but Snoqualmie Pass did pick up close to a foot of snow over the weekend. Much needed snow across Washington mountains as the snowpack was slow to build so far this year. Stevens Pass nearby in Washington's mountains actually picked up more than 2 feet of snow, but that is the mountain that is difficult to access right now because of the atmospheric river that washed out the major highway that gets us there. So that's something that we are continuing to watch, but that snow in the mountains is a welcome sight. It's been a very warm start to the winter, so it's been difficult to build that snowpack in Washington mountains. But ski season has finally arrived in Washington. But this year, there's a big question. can you still afford it? We know skiing is an expensive hobby. Seattle's Farah Jadron is at the slopes of Snoqualmie Pass, tracking the latest cost of a day on the mountain.
Yeah, if you've ever been skiing or snowboarding, you know it doesn't come cheap. But for this season, I do have some shreds of good news when it comes to costs.
Before you surround yourself with fresh white snow, you gotta talk about the green it takes to get up here. You talk to people like Greg Whitaker.
We have been affected by the tariffs, but not as bad as some of the other industries.
Whitaker runs Mountain to Sound Outfitters in West Seattle.
We got a lot of our gear in pre-tariff, so prices didn't go up as much.
That's a positive for what's known to be a pricey pastime. While other industries have seen prices surge, Whitaker says ski equipment has stayed relatively stable. That and local ski swap events happening every year helps individuals and families stomp down the costs. Mountain to Sound estimates you can outfit your family for these prices. But rentals are just the start of the ride up. Factor in gas to drive, lift tickets, and season passes, and a day on the mountain adds up fast, especially for families. Depending on where in Washington you ski, a family of 4, 2 adults, a teen, and a child averages out to a little more than $300 to just about $600. That's for a single weekend day on the slopes. Here are estimates on what you'll pay for a single season pass per adult. It ranges from about $500 to $1,000 across 6 of the state's many places to ski. Industry experts will be the first to tell you.
This is a passion industry. We do it because there's mountains right up here. Seattle is a ski town.
It's a pricey passion, but Whitaker says if you love it, you find a way to make it happen.
Even with a later than desired start to the ski season and that Highway 2 closure impacting Stevens, there are still no announcements about season pass holder fee refunds, but we'll keep you posted on that. There are military discounts at almost every mountain, so be sure to check on that if it applies to you. It's also cheaper to ski during the week. And one last money saving tip for you: if you have a friend who already has a season pass, check in with them. See if it allows for you to swap in or to borrow it for the day. At Snoqualmie Pass, Farah Jadron, King 5 News.
And maybe pack a lunch as well. Of course, Mount Baker, which you saw there at the $1,000 marker for the season pass, is known as an incredibly impressive mountain for snow totals and has seen record-setting snow in a season globally. So it explains the expensive price tag. We are going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to stay in the Northwest and check out our forecast. Welcome back to Weather Out West. Thanks for sticking with us. Before we get to our West Coast forecast, severe weather has struck Illinois. Some communities are recovering from a tornado. You can see the damage here. It tore through a neighborhood, damaging homes and power lines. Well, it is a much different story in the Northwest. A calm weather pattern is here in Washington. Calm weather can often lead to fog and freezing temperatures, though. Meteorologist Ashley Ruiz is in Seattle watching those impacts there.
A very happy Monday from Seattle, Washington. I'm King 5 meteorologist Ashley Ruiz with a look at your forecast. It's the final couple of days of 2025, and we're actually going to have some nice weather here in Western Washington, though it's going to be on the cold side. We're cold again tonight with areas of fog that could lead to some slick spots on the road, especially for the South Sound, basically from Hood Canal, Shelton, Olympia, all the way down I-5 into southern Washington. Otherwise, it's going to be cool during the day, partly sunny, and we're mostly dry through New Year's Eve. Looking better in terms of our drier forecast that we will be dealing with up until perhaps New Year's Day. I'll show you in just a minute, but rain will return later in the week. let's talk about the big picture right now. We have a ridge of high pressure that's going to keep things very quiet the next couple of days. Eventually, it is going to weaken and flatten a little bit as we head into the middle half of the week. And what's going to happen with that? The ridge is going to open the door essentially for troughing to occur. You see that dip in the jet stream, and that's going to bring us the return of a wet and unsettled weather pattern, what we're used to here in the Pacific Northwest this time of year. So we're going to wrap 2025 up mostly dry, and then into the new year we'll enter that wetter weather pattern. Friday for now looks to be the wettest day, and if that changes we'll let you know. But just know, if you're coming to the western Washington area, Seattle, for the new year, just make sure you dress with lots of layers because it is still going to be quite chilly. If you're hitting the slopes, you can enjoy some fresh snow, but snow won't even return to the forecast to the mountains until potentially this weekend when we get the return of all that moisture. Here's a look from Crystal Mountain. This is their website, the 360 cam. You could watch this all day. You see beautiful views atop Crystal Mountain. So this is above 6,000 feet, but you see all the snow-capped mountains. And this is where we stand. The latest 24-hour new snow count, nothing, but over the past couple of days, a lot of snow, building that snowpack and then allowing for the majority of our slopes to open up. Stevens Pass opens today. The snow depth, the base depth, about 47 inches, powder, and then Mount Baker doing quite well, powder as well. Snoqualmie Pass, it's packed powder, and then Crystal doing great as well. Now, I mentioned that we likely won't get fresh snow again until later in the week when we get the return of all of that moisture, but our snow levels may be about 4,500 feet, dropping over the weekend and through Sunday night. The model guidance, potentially half of a foot, maybe up to a foot for some spots, but it's all dependent on the timing and then the track of our next system moving in later in the week. A beautiful view from our Columbia Center Tower Cam here in Seattle, looking toward Mount Rainier. Beautiful. We had a fiery sunrise, a little bit of fog, and then from Queen Anne looking toward downtown Seattle. Visibility is great. And then taking you up to Everett, looking toward the Olympics. A beautiful start. Just on the cold side, we kicked things off in the 20s and 30s once again. Highs today below normal in the low and mid 40s. Tonight going to be cold once again, lower in mid 30s, all the way up and down the I-5 corridor. Tomorrow, some of you may warm up a couple of degrees, but still pretty close to our seasonal average, if not below average. And then ringing in the new year here in Seattle, as of right now, midnight about 40 degrees, mostly cloudy, and then New Year's Day we'll get the return of some of those showers. But the heaviest rain, the most widespread rain, at least as of now, looks to hold off until Friday. So here's New Year's Eve day. So Wednesday morning, we get the return of clouds. I stop the clock right around midnight and it's showing dry skies until we get into maybe Thursday morning. But even then, it's going to be light rain, if anything, with widespread rain arriving Thursday night and into Friday. Notice up in the mountains, we don't have much in the way of that white color. We have more of the pinks, indicating a wintry mix. Our snow levels will still be rather high by then, and then dropping as we get closer into the weekend when a lot of that moisture will occur and fall, but not expecting any major mountain snowmaker, at least not as of right now. And then you see, taking you into Sunday and Monday, things start to dry out. As for rain totals through next Saturday, and remember this could definitely change, showing manageable totals, about half of an inch, maybe up to an inch for some spots. And then I mentioned snow levels come up. This is more, we're not going to have much in the way of precipitation, so our snow levels, freezing levels are going to be quite up there. And then over the weekend, snow levels start to come down to about Snoqualmie Pass level once again. So between 3,000 and 3,500 feet. Another look at your 7-day forecast, ringing in the new year on a dry note, but rain chances return and ramp up heading into the first couple of days of 2026, and it will be milder with highs near 50.
It is always nice to see mild weather in Seattle, especially because of New Year's at the Needle, the incredible firework and drone show at the Space Needle, Seattle. So sometimes the weather doesn't cooperate, but nice to see that it should this year. Well, let's head to the other side of the state of Washington. It's a similar pattern. Quiet right now, but changes arrive once we ring in the new year. Meteorologist Thomas Patrick is in Spokane with the forecast for Eastern Washington.
I'm meteorologist Thomas Patrick in Spokane, Washington. As we close out the year of 2025, finally some calmer weather to work with, as opposed to what has been, honestly, a pretty crazy month of weather for Spokane. Windstorms, atmospheric rivers, bit of a flash freeze from last Friday night. It has been a bumpy ride. But we're just going to calm things down for a few days here. And honestly, finally some winter weather. We hit our coldest point so far this winter over the weekend. Temperatures are pretty normal for a few days, and no more rain or snow chances until at least early January here. So when I say calm weather and stable, I mean this would be the reason why. Big high pressure region right over North Idaho and western Montana. And while the skies look fairly cloudy, that's actually just all high cirrus clouds, maybe the occasional alto stratus clouds over the mountains, meaning that they're mid or high level cloud cover, and we're not going to get any rain or snow out of any of that. Honestly, the sun is cutting through that pretty nicely here. In fact, those are the pictures up in the mountains at Schweitzer, where plenty of people are already skiing. They open the lifts at 9 a.m. and there's always a long line there. So glad to see everybody enjoying a colder day on the mountains, so that way the snowpack can stay put and in place. Just looking out over the distance at Silver Mountain as well in North Idaho, honestly, it just looks beautiful to have snow on the mountains. Bit of a slow start, especially from this past December. And as you'll see, it's been our record warmest December so far here. So a couple of days of some colder weather, nice for the mountains, and finally actually feeling like winter in the season. High of 32 degrees today. Feels cold here locally in Eastern Washington, but let me tell you, that is basically spot on average for our temperatures. The average is 33, forecasting 32. Even our low temperatures, average is 23, I'm forecasting 23. So we're right down the middle in terms of average end of December weather. Got down to 15 degrees this past weekend. That has been so far our coldest point this winter, and one of only a couple days that were even below average temperature wise. The month as a whole, I mean, this is 23 days in a row of above average temperatures, as much as 22 degrees above normal. That day, which was January 15th, we got up to 57 degrees. That was all the atmospheric rivers. That's where all the flooding came from. That's where all the warmth came from. So far, we are on pace for our warmest December ever in Spokane history. That would actually make for the second month of doing that. September was our warmest September on record as well. Looking at late week, though, we'll get some rain chances back in play on January 1st. And January 2nd, kind of two independent storms trying to interact with the inland northwest. Though as temperatures slowly climb up and back into the low 40s, that is why I'm forecasting more rain than anything else. If anything, it'll be New Year's Day. If we get some evening rain, it might actually be evening snow, just depending on the temperature profile. High of 37 that day, low of 31 that night. So I'll keep it as a rain or snow chance for Thursday evening, but certainly Friday and Saturday, that would be warm enough for all rain in the region. Now that's early January. The end of December just ends up pretty quiet, but honestly pretty sunny with temperatures nicely in the low to mid 30s.
Thank you, Thomas. Up next after the break, we are staying in the Northwest. Your forecasts for Boise and Portland are still ahead. Welcome back to Weather Out West. Let's now go to Idaho, where calm weather continues. Hector Mendoza is tracking changes there, though, as we welcome the new year.
Well, here in southwest Idaho, we had lots of mountain snow, and here's a beautiful look out in McCall as Jennifer posted this on our Idaho Weather Watchers Facebook page, and what a beautiful view from some of the snow out in McCall. But we did see snow in other spots, especially in some of those ski resorts, as we had a lot more of that here during the week of Christmas. But then as we headed into the weekend, a lot more of that system just kind of died down just a bit. And these are some of the totals as we're looking at the 48-hour totals, as we got an inch in Bogus Basin, Brundage, and even out in Sun Valley. Tamarack got about 10 inches here in the past 48 hours, and then 6 inches out in Pomerelle. So a lot of folks got a chance to enjoy some of the ski resorts there, as a lot of them opened up a lot more here as we got in towards the weekend, as we had several inches there last week. But as we head into today and in through the next couple of days, that's going to be a much different story, as we're going to stay pretty dry and pretty stable in terms of conditions. So not expecting any more snow to start to stack up. And we've also seen some hazier conditions, and that is due to an air stagnation advisory that we have in place for most spots here in the Treasure Valley. And that is due to that ridge that's going to continue bringing us lighter winds. And then the biggest thing that we're going to be paying attention to, especially as we look across the Treasure Valley and portions of the Magic Valley, is going to be the air pollutants that stay trapped. And that's what's going to bring and continue those hazier conditions, as it's not going to impact too much, but still could start to see that some of the air quality diminishes just a little bit here and through the next couple of days. And as we look at the big picture, again, this system is going to develop here into the next couple of days, strengthen as we get towards the middle of the week. And then the next system that follows behind that is going to be this low system that'll bring in some showers, and then it'll bring in more snow in portions of some of those higher elevation areas. And because of the milder conditions, that's why we're going to see a little bit more of those higher snow levels there to start off. And then as we head closer in through Saturday, we'll see them drop just a little bit more, as we're going to fluctuate between some areas seeing rain up in portions of the mountains and other spots seeing some of the snow. The other thing that we're going to notice is going to be some of the temperatures, as we're going to see that temperatures up into the mountains as we continue to climb in height is not really going to change or veer off too much from what we're seeing here in portions of the valley. Some spots like Stanley will also continue to see some of those very cold temperatures into the next couple of days, but the afternoons will start to warm up just a little bit more. But we're going to fast forward all the way through Thursday, as we're going to take a look at this future cast, as that's when we're expecting a lot more of that active weather to really start, and then it'll continue here through Friday and Saturday. So as we push and start to move forward here in this future cast, we'll see a little bit more of those chances of precipitation further south to initiate. And then we're going to expect to see as well some more of those snow chances coming along for the Magic Valley before we see it turn into rain. Snow levels will also continue to rise, and then we're going to see much higher elevation snow. The Treasure Valley expecting to see a little bit more of some of these showers as we get towards the second half of that Thursday, and then we'll stay active all the way through the rest of the weekend. So again, as we take a recap here of the 7-day forecast, sunny conditions here for today and tomorrow. Low 40s we're going to be anticipated across the Treasure Valley, climbing up closer to the mid 40s. So we're going to stay well above some of these average temperatures as we get towards Wednesday and Thursday. Then we'll climb back up into the 50s, stay into the upper 40s through Sunday, and then a lot more of those showers will continue as we head towards the end of the weekend.
All right, everybody's under that same pattern. We're ringing in the new year, welcoming 2026 with a wet pattern, and that rain's true in Oregon as well. Our final forecast today, that rain, as we said, heading from the south up to the north. Eventually, it will hit Oregon. Meteorologist Rod Hill is in Portland with when the rain arrives in Oregon.
On a Monday, let's start with a little bit of ski fever. I'm Rod Hill coming to you from the Rose City, Portland. And this is one of our Timberline cameras. You can see the skiers and boarders chomping at the bit to have a great day up there. Partly cloudy skies. Winds have been just to 15. It's been in the upper 20s, but it will be warming above freezing. So it's a pretty mild, actually really comfortable afternoon coming for our resorts. Now, no, we don't have a ton of snow, but we at least now have more than a 2-foot base at Timberline and Meadows, the two largest resorts on Mount Hood. Ski Bowl still has 15. They've opened up their tubing hill. And then Bachelor down in Central Oregon has just shy of 2 feet of snow. Nothing new because we were dry yesterday, and we're going to be dry the next several days. In fact, with 4 dry days in our forecast starting yesterday through Wednesday, this is the longest dry streak that we have had since one that went 5 days back starting November 8th. We all know it's been a crazy wet December, and that's kind of evidence of just how long it's been since we've racked up 3-4 dry days in a row. Here's what's going on weather-wise. It looks like this first one is a front that's nearing us, but it's not. It will weaken and hold off. We're getting some cloudiness spilling from this into our skies, but we are all dry, and generally speaking, we are expecting a partly sunny day today. We've had a few fog pockets this morning, but not that many. And there's not really even any signs of any marine push. Again, the wind flow is from the east. So we have kind of thin mid to high level clouds as I show you some of our live cameras on this final Monday of 2025. Chinook Winds Casino Resort in Lincoln City. And by the way, if you're going to be in Oregon over the next couple of days, including today, this will be the warm spot. Our beaches will generally hit 50 and above, warmer than any other part of our state. So we get that in the winter sometimes, where the coast is absolutely the garden spot. Here's our state capitol. Did not see any frost this morning on the grass in front of the capitol down in Salem, of course. And I've got one more camera for you looking at the Moda Center where the Blazers play, of course, and looking up I-5 and again, kind of partly sunny to mostly cloudy skies to start our day. The weather map is pretty simple. Again, all dry, and there's a 52 in Tillamook and a 55 in North Bend. I think by Wednesday, we'll be looking at much of the beach with highs 54, 55, 56. Really nice late December weather. Mid-40s, not as warm up and down I-5, and that's with getting some sun today. About 42 in Sun River, 39 in Bend, and then we've got temperatures in the 30s out across the east. Okay, let me get you to our 7-day forecast. So here's the dry run that started yesterday all the way through Wednesday. This is going to set up more cold nights near freezing with frosty spots. Now, again, there's an east wind that's been gusting out of the gorge along the Columbia River to about 30 miles per hour this morning. If the weather models are correct, we don't have much in the way of fog the next several nights. No marine push thanks to the east wind. And tomorrow potentially is just mostly sunny down here. And Wednesday could be as well with a high of 47. Rain comes in Thursday morning, and maybe it's a little bit later than that, but high confidence that we will be dry New Year's Eve night, including midnight. Then there's New Year's Day with the rain picking up, a rainy Friday, and then weekend showers expected.
Enjoy the dry weather while you can. Thank you, Rod. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. As we have mentioned, the West Coast is fairly mild right now. Most of us in our Weather Out West communities are feeling pretty calm conditions right now, but as you can see, the Midwest and the East Coast are where the excitement sit right now. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that, and we'll continue to watch the rain that moves in this week. Here's a look at Wednesday afternoon, recapping one more time. That rain hits California first, and then it moves up and becomes a widespread rain event for a majority of us in the western part of the United States. Then another disturbance brings in more rain. So all of that to say, 2025 is ending fairly mild. 2026, on the other hand, looks to start on an active note. But of course, we will keep you updated on all things weather in Weather Out West. I'm Leah Pizzetti. Thank you so much for sticking with me for the last half hour. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a great day.